sure. This is Trent with Canoe Outpost. My name is Will with Full Tilt Productions. A little behind the scenes of what's going on today is we're making a full-length feature documentary on Hurricane Ian. But as we all know, like, it came in slammed like Southwest Florida, just like Charlie did. It pretty much came up right up the same path. Like,
Exact same path.
Yeah, dude, like the second they started talking about like it's coming to Tampa. We're like, no, it's not.
No, this is deja vu all over again.
For real, man. You know,
we're in the zone again. It's gonna be us.
Yeah, for sure. We are doing a full feature documentary. Stay tuned to the channel. Stay tuned to Canoe Outpost, because what we're doing is like, yeah, Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel, all of that got thrashed. But something that hardly ever happens is whenever you come up into the heart of Florida, heart of Southwest Florida, up the Peace River to where like the rubber meets the pavement, where the boots meet the ground. Like, as far as Southwest Florida, probably the biggest legacy in the area. Anybody and everybody that wants to get away from the beaches and all that hassle, they come here. You know what I'm saying? They get in touch with nature. But this isn't my story to tell. This is my man Trent right here.
Canoe Outpost, Peace River. We've been here since 1969. Donna and Tex Stout started it, and Donna was my grandma's best friend. Tex was my grandpa's best friend. They went canoeing from Bartow all the way down, and somehow they found a way out here and found a phone and called. My mom babysat everybody's kids when they got off the river while my grandma and Donna came and picked up the two guys. This is not what it normally looks like. It is literally a disaster area right now. When it pans around, you'll see a lot more. We evacuated everything up to our front parking lot as the river started rising. You know, we did a lot of storm prep. We worked our butts off. We're like, oh yeah, we're way over prepared. We've done so much more than we ever have before, and it totally blew the records out. The last flood even close to this that set the record was at 20.5. This one crested at 23.7. Beat the record by 3.2 feet.
God dang. Holy crap.
The parking lot, this was all still wet until 2 days ago. I actually had to move. This is my gate right now, where I block off my wall of buses.
Nice.
To to keep people from, looters and stuff, keep everything protected. I keep it, hidden behind the buses.
Yeah.
And so at night I drive this up into the gap right there. And I had to move it to the outside because it was getting deep enough. I was worried about this bus. I didn't want to leave it parked in the water.
Right.
And yeah, like these trailers were in water up here. I mean, I was tying the boat off to branch where that tree had broke off. I was tying the boat off right here. This deep hole up here is all from rainfall. It was flowing over the bumpers of these buses. It was pretty scary because there's 4-foot hole right here.
Right.
So I drove the truck out so I could pull the bus if the bus got stuck.
For sure.
And then got the bus, and the bus made it through, thankfully.
What?
Knee deep. When I got the bus, to get in the door of the bus, right here, the day of the storm, that night at 10 o'clock,
yeah,
it was already up to here, and it was still daylight when I looked out after the storm had passed. I could see water coming over the top of the dock, so I started packing stuff in the house that I would need for the next few days. Figure, okay, I still got time, but I'm going to go ahead and get the vehicles out.
Yeah.
And I threw a few things in the truck, drove out there, pulled the bus out there. Figure, I'm going to go and sleep out here tonight because this will be the night, somebody might show up.
Right.
And the next day, it was already up into those buses out there. 48 hours, it was already up in the parking lot, and house was flooded. I lost everything. The windows that broke all broke after the storm.
Yeah.
When tables and this platform that I'm stacking stuff on all floated over here from over by the river. 275-pound canoes and the trailer to hold them floated and drifted over to there and wedged up against the trees, and then as the water dropped, it finally laid down. There were 6 pallets of firewood here. Yeah, we piled everything on top of the firewood because it's never going to float the pallets of firewood.
Right, you wouldn't think.
You can see it's all...
Yeah.
But we're talking right here, almost to that rafter.
You said 24 feet, just shy.
Yeah. 23.7 was the official number at the bridge in Arcadia.
You know what? People don't understand what 23, 24 feet looks like, but a story to a house is roughly about 10 feet. So twice that. And then some. Like, put your toddler on top of a 2-story building, and that toddler better be able to swim.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And then, like, and around here, like, prospectively, like, these pictures and videos can hardly do it justice, right? Let me flip this. They can hardly do it justice, but, like, this is insane, dude, because not only do you have all that rushing water coming through here, then you have stuff that's going to be hitting you while you're in that water.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
Not all of this stuff is ours.
No.
Some of this stuff showed up out of the river.
Well, for sure. Speaking of which, like, Canoe Outpost is known for, like, snorkeling and everything else, and, like, scuba diving and finding stuff.
Yeah,
like,
the fossil hunting is a big thing.
Bro.
It's probably going to be a pretty epic year for fossil hunting.
I'm just saying.
All your old spots, if you have a spot, it's gone. It's moved, it's shifted. You're going to be finding new spots, you know, that you've never even thought of before probably because the bottom is going to change. The low water season this year at the railroad trestle, which is destroyed, right underneath it, where everybody used to jump off, was ankle deep in water. It had filled in with fossil gravel. So that fossil gravel has now blown elsewhere and left big stuff behind, you know, up the river, wherever that came from, it left stuff. Wherever that stuff moves to next, you know, there's going to be stuff exposed, and, you know, under there is going to have stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't even know if the river's going to be open with the railroad trestle. They may close it down because it's a hazard to go under.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're just still waiting and seeing on a lot of this stuff.
That's so crazy. I was just down here a couple weeks ago and I took a picture of the Peace River. That bitch was already high before this hurricane hit. Like, I got a picture of her at Morgan Park, that double bridge.
It's going to be about like this. It's going to be that shot. And you can add almost 12 feet to that.
This is incredible. I mean, like, so what kind of, like, well, whenever people watch this and be like, fossils, wait, what? Like, so, like, what kind of fossils do you usually find here on
the Peace River is also known as Bone Valley.
All right.
Is not a traditional name, but like all the fossil hunting and paleontologists,
right?
They call it Bone Valley because it's, for some reason, when it was out of the water, when Florida was dry, there was lots of mammoths, ground sloths, saber-tooths, you name it, like land animals. Yeah. Horse fossils, you can find all kinds of stuff. And then when it goes underwater, there's you know, sharks and fish and sea life. So it produces layer after layer after layer of fossils.
Hell yeah.
And it's just one of the most ridiculously productive areas you can go to fossil hunt in Florida, except for like if you happen to own a shell pit. At that point, maybe you can find more stuff.
Right.
But at that point, you're more worried about getting the shell out than anything else.
No, that's right.
So yeah, the river was just a hair lower than this when the storm hit. And 48 hours later, it was 12 feet higher. What? So I'm not even quite 6 feet tall. So we'll say here, double that height above the ground is where the water was, which is 2-3 feet past into that log.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it's just...
You can't even fathom that, dude. Like, I've got the ultra-wide lens on this
Yeah.
And then just spinning around. And, like, people can't even understand. As high as this is right now,
you're still 3-4 feet underwater.
We're still, we're not even treading water. Like, we're...
Yeah, you're floating away.
Yeah, we're bubbles.
Yeah, there was current ripping through here. I could barely get the boat to make it.
That's crazy.
Because you can't, like, power through because
right.
You got stuff underneath. You got power lines. You got trees down. You're dealing with it all. So anytime I was, like, taking the boat out to go run supplies, it's wind your way through and fight the current. And then coming back in was an adventure because then the current's pulling you into everything.
What would happen if you dropped a kayak or canoe in here right now? Like, would that be...
Not be a good idea.
Not a good idea.
I close at 9 feet and we're at 12 feet right now.
Okay, not doing that.
Yeah.
No, not another Cayo Costa incident.
Yeah, because you will shoot down. I mean, if you're a really great paddler, is it possible to do? Yeah. Is it a good idea? No, not at all. Back in the 80s, we closed at 13 feet. By the 90s, we were at 11 feet. By the mid-2000s, we're down to 9 feet because people just don't understand moving water.
Yeah.
They don't have the experience that, you know, back in the 80s and 90s and 70s, people paddled and did more outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
They, you know, had experience paddling. If the river came up, they could handle it.
Yep.
Nowadays, so many people just never get outdoors to experience nature and life, you know. You can learn things about yourself and learn things about the world you'll never find in the city.
Because, you know what I'm saying? I grew up right down the road too, and I was over in Pine Level. It's like, man, I remember swimming laps around my trailer.
Yeah.
And it's like, I already know my bro got hit, man. I'm like, dang, man. Like,
you got to go check on your old place. It was probably that deep.
Yeah. It probably was,
it was
too.
Probably that deep.
Because we were right on Horse Creek, which is like one of those little veins that come off the Peace River, over toward like Hollingsworth Ranch.
That's where one of my employees that hadn't made it in yet, her house got like 4 feet of water in it.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And her truck, she parked it outside the house. It's dead.
To give our viewers a freaking idea, that's the floating dock that he's talking about, right?
And on one of my lives, I was standing on this dock shooting backwards at the office after it started dropping.
Yeah.
Being like, we'll eventually be able to get reopened again.
This is nuts, man.
Top of the door frame on the raised building. There's actually, I've got a permanent watermark marked in here. And it got a few inches higher than this, but this is where when it rose and fell, it left a good distinct line that we've mostly scrubbed away. I don't know if it'll show up on the video, but it's super faint still. Even scrubbing it with bleach.
Yeah, you can see it.
But with all of this, you know, we're like the shells, we don't need to evacuate them.
Right.
Yeah, there's still bleeding water out the bottom. When they originally opened the Outpost, this was the master bedroom. A room about the same size over there was where their 4 daughters lived.
Really?
They had no AC, they had 1 bathroom, and they did check-in in here. This was their living room. For their coffee table, they had a desk.
Really?
And the desk, it died in Charlie. We had it all the way up until Charlie.
Oh my God.
45 years? No, 35 years. 35 years. We still kept that same desk. And it finally got wet in Charlie and we had to get rid of it.
Man.
But yeah, they had the desk right here and they did check-in in the office.
That is crazy.
So in the 80s, my Uncle John built this section on, and this is where we do check-in now. And it just, as you can see, it got deep in here.
Yeah, bro.
When it crested, the day I was out in the boat, after that, once I was sure I was done moving stuff, I was out in the boat running supplies to people, and I looked over and I could have beached on top of this roof right here. What? Here's a weird sense of scale for you.
All right.
You can see there's 5 dry steps.
Yeah.
There's 8 more of just these steps. And then there's a big platform step that's about 3 feet across, then 2 more steps, then a big platform, then 2 more. There's a total of 23 steps going down here, and we've got 5 visible.
5.
So call it 7 3/4 inches, you know, for the width of the wood.
Yeah.
Because it's not quite, you know, 8 inches exactly, because lumber never is exact. It's always cut a little smaller. And you can see how many more feet it is before it gets down to where the water should be. And then there's another foot on top of that, and that's where that dock should be floating way out there past the end of that tree. And the canoe stack over here, you can see the cable running over it.
Yeah.
Obviously it didn't work. When it flooded, it lifted the stack so hard it pulled 4-foot hurricane anchors out of the ground.
And like, so all of you that are complaining, bitch want to complain that you don't have Xfinity freaking knocking on your door and saying congratulations, you have Wi-Fi again. Here's a little perspective for you. Like, I'm not even going to insult this man asking him if he has Wi-Fi. I know that answer. Like,
no.
Like, you know what I'm
I
saying?
do not have Wi-Fi.
He'd probably be like, you bastard. Of course not.
I don't even know if I have phones yet because we haven't got the office cleaned up enough to unpack the phones. Hopefully in the next few days we'll get the office, get enough people, volunteers and staff in that we can finish getting the office cleaned up so I can start emptying the buses. And I didn't think about turning the breaker off because it rose so fast. I was so busy moving stuff higher that I didn't get my house, I didn't get the breakers.
Didn't have time to think.
Yeah, it was just get everything higher ground as fast and as quick as you can. And it was so frantic because like it flooded so fast nobody could even get to me.
Right.
If you didn't have a boat that could, run the river, that you could launch off the side of the road, there was no getting here. They had 2 different, waterways cutting them off from anything.
Right.
So, and there's like the migrant camps that are up the road, they were just totally isolated. There was no way to get out, so we were hundreds of MREs and cases of water were being run up. And then, as other supplies like, baby diapers and stuff started coming in, we started dropping them off. And there was like 4 different spots we were having to just, get it to the water, and then we'll boat it out. Up 72 didn't have access because Horse Creek had flooded over the bridge and it washed out this into 72, and it was over 70. You'll see some of, I'm sure you've got some of the drone footage from the news and stuff you're going to put in there. And then the other side of 70 was cut off by the Myakka River, and the Myakka River actually cut 72 as well. So yeah, it took out 70 and 72. South 17 was cut off by Horse Creek and Joshua Creek. And then the only way in and out of town was towards east on 70.
Right.
And so everybody west of the river was isolated for the better part of a week for most of them. And then once Myakka dropped enough, that was able to get some people's stuff. And then once some of the creeks dropped, that was enough to get these people's stuff. And so eventually, you know, the supplies moved down to right there in front of my place. And then eventually, when the road dried up, everybody was able to drive into town to get stuff. 60, 80,000 people headed towards Sarasota that were out of power.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it took them a little while. So all those people were coming to town to get, you know, MREs and other supplies, because what else can you keep at home for a week, 2 weeks, you know, that you can buy, because the shelves were wiped because Bradenton and Sarasota had problems. Because until I got roads, I can't do business.
Exactly.
So yeah, if anybody's got a dump truck, that's my #1. I need that.
Would you be willing to show us real quick on the roads that need show real quick?
Oh yeah. So I'm sure y'all saw on the walk in where I said that the one was, you know, the road, we've already filled it partway, just stealing shell from like down here and stuff. So starting right about here, we started losing about 6-8 inches. That wasn't, we had actually had a little dirt ramp leading up to the dock there that we had just built like a month before the storm. We had just rebuilt that section. We were so worried it was going to wash away, but we packed a bunch of concrete around it, and it seems to have held. We'll know more when it drops.
Right.
But it undermined it, so we'll have to fill it in again and build up. But yeah, right here was probably about 6-8 inches down, and that had a little bit of a ramp of dirt going there, just so people don't have to step down.
Right.
And then that continues getting deeper and deeper as you go this way, where the current had more of a free flow, where the palmettos weren't slowing it up, you know, pushing it higher. That's why this area doesn't blast out as bad as you get over here where it took the fence out, and it just blew it feet deep. Probably, I mean, you look at like the level of that oak tree base, that's where the road should be continuous all the way back just about. And like the level that bathtub is at, that log is probably slightly below where grade should be. And then, you know, some of the holes back there, you know, 4 or 5 feet deep like this one is. And, you know, most of them are 3 and 4 feet deep. And then again, the road going this way, this little sand drift right here is probably about where the grade should be. And you can see I'm on Florida bedrock limestone.
Yeah, you are.
I'm happy everywhere I got limestone, because it's an area I can at least drive on if I need to.
No, I know, that's right.
But when, you know, you get these washouts this deep, I got a Jeep on 37s, and I wouldn't want to try to drive it back there. Everybody knows that one old guy that just, nope, we're doing this.
Yep.
Ours is a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's stubborn.
The old man in there cleaning right now, he did Korea.
Oh.
Wow.
He's 88 and won't stop working. I love him to death, though. He busts his ass. Nothing but love for him. Got his Marine shirt on, Marine in Korea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he barely missed World War II. Being 88, he was almost old enough to get drafted for that. He got drafted for Korea.
He was right there at it. So the people of Arcadia have been like helping out down here?
Oh yeah. My fridge, Leslie Brewer, she married a guy over in Okeechobee. Okeechobee Sheriff's Office showed up running food.
Nice.
For days on end. Every little mud boat, they created their own little version of the Cajun Navy. We got the, you know, the redneck Navy going on.
Hell yeah.
And like the locals in the airboats running supplies out, you know. I have been fortunate, you know, like I said, we thought we were over prepared, but I was prepared enough for me to be okay. But I wasn't prepared for the damage levels.
Right.
As soon as this is done, I'm reopening.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully a few more weeks I'll be open for reservations, and, you know, start doing trips for people that have, you know, been here when it's 10 feet above and stuff, you know, expert paddlers that have done whitewater multiple times.
For real.
And then as it gets lower, we'll start getting more and more customers, hopefully.
Oh, little froggy.
Oh yeah, there's going to be lots of them. If you like frogs, just keep your eyes open as you walk. You're going to see hundreds of them, I'm sure. They're going to be along all the edges of all this water, because there were tadpoles everywhere.
Like, I just want people to be able to look at this and just be like, damn, we didn't. One, they need to be able to fully understand the story. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more than just beaches and palm trees down here.
And here's the thing: everybody's showing the campground. Nobody realizes at least half of those trailers, if not more, are people that live there full time. Like the staff trailers, there's a whole bunch of them, 8 or 10 of them right here on my fence line right here, and this little cluster down here is all staff that live on site. They've lost their homes, trucks, some of them, you know. They've lost everything. They're out there working.
Holy crap, guys. So that's it. These guys from Pike, the most valuable freaking linemen in this freaking country. I swear to God, the most valuable linemen in this country do not wear a freaking football jersey. I'll tell you that right now. Because these guys are it. When I'm telling you how badass these guys are, like all of them, they've been at it 24/7 non-stop. Pike. You guys, these are the true heroes right now, man. So, like, if you see them, if you see these flashing lights, move out of the way, right? Because they're here to help y'all get on your feet. I am forever grateful. But now what we got to do? We got to charge some stuff up and go out there and help more people. But again, Pike, FP&O. I mean, it's not a lot, but we're doing something. We're doing what we can because honestly, we're pretty much unscathed from this hurricane. But a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are freaking sucking right now. And so this right here, I don't know if you use Ring doorbells with like that whole neighborhood system. Someone was giving out free box of MREs and a case of water. So check it out. Bam. This is what we're going to do. I don't know how many's in here. Reduced sodium, which is really good because there's a lot of senior citizens down here. But so yeah, tomorrow on our way out, right? We'll try to get this food out to some people, man.